Back with another episode of The Heart of It. I'm Leilani.
Country Strong in the house. Hey, just to let y'all know that sitting here with this mic, I don't know what to do with my hands. Psych.
We're finally back with the next episode of The Heart of It.
That's right.
And
That's right.
we initially were going to talk about how we met.
Yeah.
Because it was, we were planning to have uploaded an episode around Valentine's Day, which also coincided with Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras, like actual Fat Tuesday. Because we met when Craig and I met 10 years ago, it was during Mardi Gras season down in the Gulf Coast. And so Mardi Gras is our thing. So initially we had planned to talk about how we met on Match.com and
Eventually it will come up. But we thought about it and was like, man, there's more important things because of the fact of we want, like I said, it's the heart of it. So
okay, what he's getting to is when Mardi Gras and Valentine hit, okay, we made plans for Mardi Gras for Fat Tuesday as our Valentine celebration. And so we made plans to stay at a hotel close to a restaurant that we love to visit to celebrate special occasion. Then it's about 20 minutes from here, the restaurant, and it's on Lake Norman. And so Craig got us a hotel like a minute away from the restaurant. That was Tuesday night, the Fat Tuesday, the day before Valentine's Day. And we had a great time.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a great time. There was two couples that used to live in New Orleans, and they were sitting at a table right next to us at the restaurant. And when Craig and I dressed up for the evening, we actually wore like Mardi Gras beads. I wore like this jersey that I bought when I went to the Super Bowl that was in New Orleans back in 2013. And then Craig wore like his Harley Mardi Gras shirt. Like it was fun. Like we clearly looked festive and people like knew like, oh, yep, people who are celebrating Mardi Gras are in the restaurant. And so this couple, they saw us and they're like, "Ooh, New Orleans in the house." And if anybody ever meets us and manifests us in person, you guys know how much fun we have. And we just really enjoy meeting new people and fun people, kind people, people that are just like us. And anyway, the night started off.
Man, it was awesome. It was awesome. Until alcohol got involved. And that's the thing of our topic tonight is addiction. So yeah, it quickly went south to the fact of I'm at the hotel. My wife Ubered home, so it went completely south. So
Go tell them why.
yeah, alcohol. Yeah, I drank way more than I should, and got belligerent, and it just went south. Went south from there. So everything that was planned, all the plans and everything just went downhill.
And the hotel we were staying at was so nice. Like I was so excited to even stay there. It was an Aloft hotel down in Mooresville, and I had never stayed there before. And I was just like, "Oh my god, this is so nice! It's kind of cool to get away, right?" And it's Mardi Gras. The next day was Valentine's Day. You know what I mean? So it was gonna be fun until it wasn't.
Yeah. I remember waking up and picking up pieces. If anybody knows me, I'm a watch fanatic. So I finally got me a Rolex. And I got so drunk and so belligerent that my Rolex was in like 100 pieces in the floor of the hotel. I mean, it's stupid. Hindsight is stupid. For what? Addiction. And not only that, I've been dealing with addiction for many, many years. So I'm not just talking about alcohol. I'm talking about hard drugs, heroin, cocaine. Because of cocaine, I tested positive at work. So I got put out of service and then I had to go through the program. They let me come back to work. And
Yeah.
back in October, you know, yeah, I say that I'm retired. I guess I'm retired because of the fact of, I don't know what my body can handle anymore, but after 23 years of service with the railroad, because of alcohol, I no longer have a job. So, and if it weren't for 23 years of savings, I don't know what I'll be doing right now. So,
Yeah. Um, I just want to go back to that night. Like we were both drinking. Okay, so it's not like only Craig was drinking. I mean, I was drinking too. Um, but I remember what happened that night. The fact that I called an Uber because I mean it was bad. And anybody who's been married, especially look, I know I have friends that watch this who have been married for decades,
mm,
and the fights you have when alcohol is involved. Mean things were said on both sides. Okay, so I said some mean things too, but I didn't want it to get worse than it already was, and so that's why I decided I'm just gonna get an Uber and come back home. And when I did, so I get an Uber and I come home, the kids are here. Now Craig and I live by ourselves, but what I didn't know was that Craig had planned for Jasmine to be here to watch our dogs, overnight while we were at the hotel. But my granddaughter was also here and hanging out for that night. And so they were surprised when I came home. And for like this isn't the first rodeo. This obviously isn't the first time that Craig and I would have like a blow up like this. Right now, none of us touched each other. It wasn't physical, but nonetheless,
would
it was
never do
bad.
that. Never do
It
that.
was bad as it was the way it was. And I didn't want to talk about it because Jasmine, I came home and Jasmine like, oh, what are you doing home? And I'm like, I ain't talking about it. So I sleep, I'm here. Craig doesn't come home. So Craig doesn't even come home. And I'm glad he didn't because he had been drinking so much. So it's like, okay, good. Stay your butt over at the hotel. But even when Craig came back the next day, we didn't talk.
Yeah. Well, the kids was here, and I was like, I'm not going to bring up any kind of conversation, whatever. And then after the kids left, I was still upstairs because of the fact I was ashamed. That's the thing about addiction. The fact of, you do things that you regret. You regret. And there's no words to say, hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because, that's like beating a dead horse over years. Because of the fact of, man, you talking to somebody that was addicted to heroin and somebody addicted to cocaine and then somebody addicted to alcohol. So how many times can you say you're sorry to the fact of who's going to believe you? You know what I'm saying? So I was ashamed. So I was upstairs and everything. And she finally came upstairs to talk to me and that. But I was so ashamed, I couldn't face my wife because what can I say other than saying the same thing that I've been saying over and over and over for several years of, you know, even when I was on heroin, I run out. And anybody knows when you're on heavy drugs and you run out, you're gonna have withdrawals. So we're sitting up there trying to watch a movie, and I couldn't even sit in the bed with my wife and watch a movie. Man, I looked like the thing in front of the uh place where you sell cars, the thing that flaps like this.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't sit still. And she's like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And I finally told her, I said, hey, I'm having withdrawals. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many times you can say I'm sorry. And it's like crying wolf. So the only thing you can do is move forward and try to show. And there's so many times you can say that you're sorry. But
Now, when Craig was working for the railroad, he was always on the road, never home, wherever he, even if he was traveling in Alabama, sometimes he'd stay with family, but most of the times he's in a hotel somewhere. So when I would see Craig, when Craig would come home, he's only home for like maybe a day and a half, maybe. And sometimes just a full 24 hours. So even when Craig was going through the worst of the illicit drug addiction, I didn't see him. So I had no idea he was even doing it. And the weight that he was losing, which we all noticed, I just didn't know it was attributed to the drugs. I just assumed that Craig worked from sunup literally to sundown, barely ate because when he would call or text me, he was either barely waking up or going right to bed. So I just figured, okay, then he's not eating. He needs to eat because what he didn't do when he was home was eat. So I'm over here just assuming that that's what it was. No idea. Because I honestly, if anybody would ask me, so how, what are the behaviors of someone who's on heroin or I have no clue.
No.
I have no idea. And the one thing Craig never told me was obviously, oh, it's because I'm on drugs.
Yeah. Yeah. I went from 250 pounds. And when I finally let it go and say, hey, enough is enough, I was down to 172 pounds in emergency room uh, at the worst moment of my life. Thought I was dying. Even my wife and my sister was there with me. My sister noticed because of the fact of I would be up for hours and hours and hours with no sleep. And then I would be so tired that I would crash out. But my body wouldn't crash out, but mentally I would crash out. My sister showed me a video on her couch trying to sleep, and it looked like I was running a marathon because my body was still moving, jerking. My legs would come all the way up in the air like I was running a marathon because of the withdrawals. And and eventually I was like, if I keep going the way I'm going, I ain't gonna be here in another 6 months. So so I squashed, you know, I was like, I got myself into it, I get myself out of it. So I sit in the bedroom and just went through the withdrawal. It took a while. It's not easy. And I see why that when people get on stuff that they get on, it's hard to get off. It's hard. But luckily and thankfully for my family, that what gave me the motivation to let it go.
And I don't want to downplay what you went through to like, I mean, like cold turkey, because it's not like you went to the doctor or to a clinic to go get whatever, I don't know, whatever they prescribe to people to help them get off these drugs. Um, but Craig didn't want, like, this is gonna sound weird, but Craig didn't want to risk his job at the time by missing work to have to go to the doctor for all of these for whatever he would have to go and do it for. He got off of this, the heroin use, the cocaine use, all by himself. And I can't even imagine because, like I said, it's not like he was doing it staying home. Like he was still going to work, traveling to whether it was Indiana, Georgia somewhere, Tennessee somewhere, but away from home, dealing with all of this and how difficult that had to have been. I honestly can't even say it, and maybe Craig can right now, how long it actually took. 'Cause I really don't know how long it took.
It took months and months. I mean, you got to think about it. It got to the point it got so bad at the very end that I was all the way up north working. It was on a Wednesday, and I run out, and I was like, I know I'm going to have withdrawals on Thursday, and trying to work and trying to drive all the way home. I drove like 7, 8 hours round trip that night. I got back to the hotel like an hour, hour and a half before I had to go to work, just so I could get enough for that Thursday. That's how bad it got. And I was like, what am I doing? What am I, what literally am I doing? So I knew it was time for a change.
And so, so Craig's home now,
Yep.
and starting with that evening, that Tuesday night, Fat Tuesday, the 13th of February, and the argument that we had. It carried over for like a few days. And then we'd have another argument because now it's the drinking. And we've been going back and forth about, what are we gonna do? Because what I'm not gonna do is have constant arguments with a man who is drunk. And I mean from the moment he wakes up, okay,
Yep.
he's digging in the freezer for his vodka and drinking it until he goes to bed.
Yep. I drank until I fall asleep during the day, and then I wake up and start drinking until I go to bed. And yeah, things got to change. Things got to change. And not only is drugs, alcohol addiction, anything could be addiction. Your cell phone, being your nose in your cell phone 24/7 could be addiction. Watching TV all day long could be an addiction. Anything can be an addiction. It don't have to be hard drugs. It don't have to be alcohol or anything. I'm just telling you my experiences.
So what are you gonna do about what are we gonna do? We're gonna keep praying on it. What are we gonna do? Because it's you say we call this the heart of it because we're gonna get to the heart of things, but
Mhm.
you say this because you've been preaching it since we started the episode, and what are you gonna do? What's in that? What's in your Yeti right now?
Yeah, I got vodka in my Yeti right now. Yeah, I do. I ain't gonna lie.
So the cycle just repeats. And you went to church this morning.
Yeah, I went to church. Yep. I drank this morning before I went to church. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I drank before I went to church. Back in the day, I used to do before I went into church. Yeah, I'm an addict. But you know what happened today at church? Somebody told me about this thing called Quest. And I'm thinking about signing up for it. So I got to figure out where I'm going to get the money for it. And the guy that I talked to, same like me, addicted to drugs and everything else. As soon as he went through this program, he come home and threw everything in the trash and ain't touched it since.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm human. I'm human. And you know what? I've worked my whole life hard physical labor. But the government knows my body better than me and says, you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this. We don't want you addicted to it. But I guarantee you that every one of their family members get everything that I used to have.
Like what? What do you mean?
Uh pain medicine. Even when I was on pain medicine, when they cut it all out, they's like, no, the government's like, no, you can't have this. You're gonna get addicted. All I asked them to do was pull up my medical records and see when I filled my prescriptions.
Mm-hmm.
I was allowed 60 pills a month. 60 pills a month. It might be 2 or 3 months before I even filled it again.
What kind of pain medicine was it
Lord's
again?
have.
Lord have.
Yeah. But oh my God, you're gonna get addicted to it. I wasn't addicted to it. The regimen they had me on, man, I could work. I was good. It wasn't like I was like just slamming pain pills every day. I didn't do that. But you know what they did turn me into? A drug addict. You know what they did turn me into? An alcoholic. Because they know my body better than me. Because they was afraid I was going to get addicted to Lortab, which I wouldn't. I said, all you got to do is pull up my medical records.
Yeah, because when your primary caregiver retired,
Yep.
okay, then you had to get it. It also
Mm-hmm.
coincided around when you had to get your refill, your prescription refilled,
Mm-hmm.
but then you couldn't because you had to
Yep.
see a new doctor.
Yep. And then they was like, no, you ain't going to get nothing.
But what did they tell you?
Pain clinic and physical therapy. So the physical therapy, I was there for like 5 minutes. I lay there, put my knees up. They tell me go this way, this way, this way. And they said the reason that I'm in so much pain is because I'm not mobile. And to tell somebody on the railroad they're not mobile, that walks miles every day up and down the tracks and the rocks and all that stuff, slinging sledgehammers, putting in cross ties, driving spikes, putting in rail, doing all this stuff. How can I not be mobile?
And when I say Craig travels for the railroad, if anybody who's not familiar with how the railroad works, these are men that are sitting in cars, in trucks, work trucks, driving from city to city. So they're not on a plane flying from one city to another. These are men that are driving hours and hours and hours on the road, and not during the day, but at night. okay, overnight, because that's how the schedule works. And so even when Craig went to this pain clinic, he still had to report to work after that. So, and because he has to go to the pain clinic during the week. So again, railroad guys don't get sick time, meaning when they're not working, they don't get paid.
Yep.
So he's going to the pain clinic to do what he needs to do to get back on the pain regimen that he was on before his doctor retired, and then have to get right in his truck and drive all the way the 10, 12, 13, 14 hours one way for him to get and report to work, and still in pain. I'm not making excuses. I'm not making excuses by any means about what, enabling him to do all the other stuff. But it's like, so here's a man that works for an excellent industry, gets the best medical coverage, but still can't get the care he needs. For as much as the railroad puts how much physical labor they put on these men, and the expectations they have of all of these workers, men and women that work for the railroad. This was the kind of care he was dealing with, or non-existent
Yeah.
of care. Again, I'm not making an excuse, but just the full context of like what we were both dealing with. I mean, this is a man, guys, that wakes up in the morning, and Craig is 53. Hey, Craig is younger than I am. Okay. But it's like his body is 100 years old. Waking up in the morning, he can't get out of bed without help because he's in so much pain. Back pain, hip pain, getting ready to go to work like this. And yes, he put 23 full years in with the railroad, and he was going to stay with the railroad for another 7 to get, to just make it, make the 30 years, right? Because we've all been ingrained that, okay, the right thing to do is, okay, we're going to retire after the number of years. And it's like, and what are you going to look like after 7 years? Like, honestly, when I got the news that Craig, was done with the railroad, um, I was happy, because I was like, there is no way that your body could have handled another 7 years on the railroad doing that kind of work, a foreman for, the team that he was responsible for, traveling to all of these cities every single week. Even if he took vacation, it's not the kind of vacation we're all used to. All those of us that worked in the traditional 9 to 5 in a corporate world, Craig didn't have that same thing. Yeah, we have great vacations, but the man is in pain 24/7. 24/7. He's in pain.
Yeah, there's times that I have to get her to help me out of bed. And there's times that I roll out of bed on my knees and it takes me a minute to stand up. But, I was always taught to work. So just keep trying to roll.
And you hear a lot about, not just taking care of our physical health, but it's also our mental health. Craig's talking about his addictions, but it's like there are some drivers and, personal mental stuff going on in our heads that we all deal with on a daily basis. And, you know, I was laid off, I was laid off in September. And so, I had to deal with, the mental impact of all of that. Right. And then a month later, Craig's on the street. And so, it's easy to say, oh, just do this. Oh, get up and I don't know, work out or take a walk or do these things to keep your body moving, keep your mind sharp, keep your mind moving as well. And it's just not as easy as people make it out to be. Again, I'm not saying that alcohol is crazy. I'm not going to speak for Craig. I know I'll speak for myself, where it's like I know how good I feel when I keep myself busy, when I go take my morning walks, when I meditate in the morning, when I come to my desk and still I'm learning new things. I'm learning this podcasting thing and how to run microphones and how to edit videos, like keeping my mind sharp, because what I do know is I honestly like that Craig is home more. This in the 10 years that Craig and I have known each other. Okay. This is the longest we've spent face to face time together in our whole relationship.
Yeah, because the way I was working, I was basically home on Saturdays. and a lot of times it was every other Saturday. So I was on the home like 2, maybe 3 days a month, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
So
So I was,
it's like we're learning, like we're honestly like it's as if we're a new couple being together while also dealing with all the life stuff that's happening, especially like underpinned by all this addiction stuff, right? The drugs, the past drug use, the current alcohol stuff. And it's like, yeah, we're dealing with some stuff.
yeah.
Um,
Well, see, I don't know what to do because I'm an outdoor person. I worked on a railroad. I'm outdoors all the time. Growing up in the country, outdoors all the time. So it's like I'm trying to get my feel of what can I do? Because living in a subdivision, man, I'm not used to neighbors.
yeah.
So I don't know what to do. I literally don't know what to do.
Except now what you have started doing is you join the church connect group.
That's right. I got connect groups that I'm doing and that and yeah, I go on Saturdays to set up help set up for church and stuff. And I'm in a connect group that we go out and help shut-ins, if they need a wider door to get their wheelchair
The
in.
building hope. That's the
Yeah,
building hope
building hope.
group.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep. Guys and grub. I'm in another connect group, where we have game night. Because
Sounds
I
fun.
never really was much on games growing up. If anybody knows me, they know I'm not a game person. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
So thankfully we have a very strong church community that's loving on us right now. And we were just at a connect group last night with this game group. It's for couples only, and it's for 50 and over, couples 50 and over. And it's so rewarding and so comforting to fellowship with couples that know what we're going through, that can empathize what we're going through. Um, and it's just I don't know, it makes my heart feel good.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to meet because I can't even tell you my neighbors' names. That's how much I'm home. I speak to my neighbors. I couldn't tell you their names or nothing. So I've here lately, the way I worked in that, I was never be able to be involved in church. So now I'm involved in church and all these connect groups. I'm on a parking committee where I help park cars and stuff. We're trying to get ready for Easter because we're going to have a huge Easter service. We're
Mhm.
going to have two of them, 9 and 11, at
Yep.
Factory Church.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this, hey,
And you
come
happen to
down
be
and
and you
join us.
happen to be local because
Yeah, it happened to be local. Yeah.
or catch the service online too if you're
Yep.
not.
It's online. Yep.
So, we wanted to share just to bring this back around. We wanted to share, we're not the perfect couple. Again, we were going to talk about how we met on match.com, blah blah blah. That's for a future episode, but I was like we were both like with everything we've been going through in the last few weeks. Um that felt fake and superficial to us right now because it ain't all fun and laughter all the time. There's some anger and sadness and frustration and discouragement that sometimes find its way into the relationship. And it's like, okay, well, we're gonna talk about it at least. And even if this particular episode, once I edit it and I decide we might decide it doesn't air, but even if it doesn't air, like we even pause the taping of this because we had to have a little discussion.
Mhm.
But it's therapy for us.
Mhm.
And when we even decided that we were even gonna do this, Craig is never on camera. Craig never
I
you
hate my
see
picture taken and all that. So this is a miracle.
right. Like he'll take pictures for social media just because I want to take a picture because the kids
Yeah.
want to take a picture, but he usually does not like it at all.
But
Uh,
you know what though? Just like the title says, the heart of it. We want to speak from our heart. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to sugarcoat nothing. Life is life and everybody can relate. I mean, nothing is perfect in life. So when we say the heart of it, we mean the heart of it. We're gonna there's stuff's gonna come up, man. It's just true life. And that's why we want if we can help somebody in any way, by something that we say, they can relate. It's like, okay, that's what it's all about. You
Yep.
know, is being there for each other.
Yep. And that definitely will not change.
Yeah.
Like we can, Craig will always be the rock that I throw myself against because he's always gonna be there. And it just happens to be that now this is the something that we're working through together. And Craig referenced this. It's not a retreat, but this kind of retreat thing that he was talking about that he learned about at church today. Um, if it's a 5 day retreat, away, like offsite somewhere. And I think I'm just excited that he even reached out to have a conversation with the young man that leads that effort. But there's an option. There's a resource. And what I would say is, if this story resonates with you, and if this experience resonates with you, especially as a couple, just know that there are resources out there. We didn't give up just because a doctor said we can't, Craig can't get a prescription for the pain medicine he had before. You know, we all make mistakes, and we fall off the path, but we're human. And what we do know is, like, okay, you know what? We have other resources available to us, and that's the route we're taking. And we're going to wake up and we're going to live this life. And what we do know is that we're in this one together.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So if this resonated with you, hit subscribe, fill out the comment section, like this. We this this is all new to us, and it's always, every time we do one of these, it always turns out a whole lot different than like we pictured it when we thought about it. But this one it does feel a little bit uncomfortable to step out a bit. But like Craig said, we talk to the heart of things, and this one happens to be this is a heavy one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. Ain't sugarcoating nothing.
Nope.
You know, what you see is what you get. We're gonna be real with you. We're gonna be real with you. And that's the reason why we call it the heart of it.
Yep. So with that, just remember, malama yourself. Malama in Hawaiian means to take care. So take care of yourself, take care of others, show yourself grace. You're not alone.
That's right.
You did it. Oh, I was trying to sign off before he said it. Dang it.
Yep. Gotta do it. Gotta do it or bust.
Oh man. All right. Signing off. I'm Leilani.
Country strong.
Take care.